We can learn a lot from Depression era living. People have lived in difficult economic times before, and we can use their habits to improve our lives today. If you take a trip through rural Appalachia and many other parts of the world, you will see people living on very little money, but also thriving. A lot of us are struggling to figure out how to stretch our dollars, so let's learn from our ancestors and people who are living on a low income for some tried and true ways to save money and live better. Saving money is not an all or nothing thing. Just by implementing a few of these things can really help you save money. Some things are going to be more convenient and realistic for some people, while others are going to work for different people. So just take this list and use it as a jumping off point for ideas that you can use that work for your life. One of my favorite quotes from the Depression era period is use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. I think this really just sums up the idea of using what you have. And if you don't have it and you don't have the money to buy it, make do without. I think that we live in like this world where we think that we have to have the newest of everything. We have to keep up with like popular technology. We've lost the ability to be creative and reuse what we already have in order to save us money. We're very materialistic. We're very driven to just go to the store anytime we need something and buy it instead of using our brain and being creative and like trying to figure out how to make things that we already have work for us. So, like, the first tip is to reuse and repurpose things that you already have. You could not only use things that you already have, but there are a lot of great online sources for you to be able to find other people who are trying to give things away for free. We have found a lot of stuff just in our life that is free or super low cost. If you are in the mindset of reusing free things, you're kind of at an advantage because so many other people are like willing to just throw things away. So you can use that and go and get their free stuff. You know, even just driving down the road, there's stuff on the side of the road all the time that you could just pick up and reuse and repurpose yourself. Friends and family, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, like there's so much free stuff available to you. So take advantage of everybody else's throwaway mindset. You could start a garden and start growing even just a few things that your family uses a lot of. Potatoes, greens, herbs. These are all super easy things that you can learn to grow yourself, even if you don't have a lot of space. The mindset of the Depression era was to be more of a producer than a consumer. And we have veered so far off of that that we have a consumer mindset instead of a producer mindset. So think about the things that you can produce for yourself, for your family to help take care of yourself. And then also that will, of course, save you money. When you go to the grocery store and you're going shopping and you're like planning your meals, like, of course, meal prepping and planning and all of that is going to be very helpful, but also base your meals around ingredients that are really low cost. Things like potatoes, white potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, bananas, oats, beans, lentils. These things are all really low cost. And they're also healthy. They can be part of a healthy meal plan. So try and plan your meals around these really cheap items. And then you can throw in, like if you have a garden, like seasonal produce or produce that is on sale from the grocery store. And that is really going to cut your grocery cost so much. I did a video on like my favorite low cost healthy meals that I will link down below, and you can check that out after this video. You also might want to buy things in bulk that you use a lot of. Don't buy things in bulk that you're not going to use a lot of. So my family eats a lot of oats. We have oatmeal for breakfast just about every day. So I do buy oats in bulk. And the way that I do that is we go grocery shopping with a family member who has a Sam's Club membership. So there's a few things that we will get at Sam's Club a few times a year that will last us the rest of the year. In line with like the throwaway mindset is also people who don't fix items when they break. So if something breaks, fix it instead of buying a new one. It kind of sucks because today uh, appliances and stuff are just not being built with the fix it mindset. It's more of a just like your air conditioner, if it breaks, just get a new one every 10 years, or your refrigerator, get a new one every 5 years, instead of like trying to fix it. And then try and fix it yourself instead of like hiring a repairman who wants to sell you the next top model because he makes commission on it instead of like fixing it. Try and just YouTube what it is that you need to fix. Like I've fixed some crazy things in the past I know absolutely nothing about, but I can like look it up on YouTube and figure out what I need to do. Just I learn. You constantly be open to learning new things and trying to figure things out. Preserving food right now is super trendy for a reason, because knowing how to grow and then preserve your own food can be super beneficial for being able to take care of your family even in really hard times. You never know when you might lose a job, or your income is cut, or your savings gets depleted. It's just always good. Like food is so important that knowing how to make sure you always have access to food is always going to benefit you. And learning how to preserve food, even if you don't grow it in your garden, if there's a great sale at the store and you want to go and buy a whole bunch of something that you are going to eat throughout the year and preserve it, you can do that. Preserving isn't just canning either. Like to me, I don't know how to can. And so that kind of seems like you have to buy equipment, and you do have to invest money into learning how to can. But there's other ways to preserve food. Like you can dehydrate stuff just in your oven, or you can buy food or grow food that maybe preserves better at like just a basic room temperature, a cooler temperature, like potatoes, garlic, onions. Like you can preserve food in other ways besides canning. Fermentation is another great option. So learn how to preserve your food for the long haul. Make your own cleaners. It can be really, really low cost to clean things with just basic ingredients. I like to use Dr. Bronner's. I buy a huge container of Dr. Bronner's soap like once, like probably twice a year, like every 6 months. I buy a big container, and we use that for like everything, including like our bodies, cleaning, just in general. Like it's just an awesome cleaner. You don't need cleaner for windows and bathroom cleaner, kitchen cleaner. Like all these separate cleaners are, one, toxic, and two, are just like so expensive when you can just use basic water and vinegar or baking soda or just like a little bit of Dr. Bronner's. That way you can use the same thing for your body, your clothes, your dishes, your bathroom, your kitchen, your floors, like all of this, just basic, super cheap ingredients. Share or trade things instead of buying them. If you need a tool or a piece of equipment or a kitchen item, ask friends, neighbors, and see if you can just borrow it. Like if you want to get into preserving food in canning, but you don't have a canner, find somebody who does. You're not going to be canning all the time every day. You know, maybe you can borrow it for a week and practice and can your tomatoes or whatever. And maybe even go in halfsies with like a friend, where like you guys split the cost of something that is more expensive. If you have like a family member who is close by and you guys want to split the cost of like a lawnmower or something like that, like do some sort of trade agreement with somebody else so that like all of that cost burden doesn't fall on you. You only mow your yard like at most once a week. So you might as well get into a community type situation where you can like, it just sits there most of the time. Share stuff. Be a little bit more community oriented. Limit your energy and water usage. You can do this just by turning your thermostat down or up a few degrees to match the outside temperature. Use less water. Like, there are so many different ways to limit your energy and water usage. I'm not going to super go into it in this video, but I'll just say that like we use an excessive amount of electricity and water just in our normal everyday life. My family has been off grid for over 3 months and we don't have access to an unlimited supply of water and energy. And even though previously we were really conscious of limiting our usage in order to save money, like I am still blown away how low we can get our usage in those areas. Like right now, we do not have any electricity hookups, but we do have like a solar, like a power station, and we don't have any water hookup. We are going out and like getting our water and bringing it to use on our property, but we do not have to pay for any electricity or water or any type of utilities right now because we are living off grid. But just that experience of living off grid and having to like be very, very mindful of how much we use has been really eye-opening and a really, really cool experience. Just don't buy it. If you think you need something, chances are you can push out a few more days and then a few more days and a few more days until you realize that maybe you didn't actually need what you thought you did. Maybe you can get creative and come up with another way of meeting that need, or maybe you decide you really do need that item, but maybe you've done a little bit more research and you found it cheaper, or you've gone on Facebook Marketplace and you found it for free or super low cost. Just be very, very mindful of every little thing that you do purchase, and maybe don't. Learn how to forage. There are so many things that we can eat or use as medicine or lotions, or just like anything that you can find. Go out and forage in the real world and see if you can find a replacement for something you thought you needed out here. Not only food, but you can use like fallen trees for fencing or raised bed gardens or siding on a barn, or even just like decoration. You can learn how to do craft stuff instead of going and buying knickknacks or whatnot. There's just so many things that you can find out in our environment that could replace what we're having to buy at the store. Bread making. This is also something that is really trending. Making your own loaf of bread is a really low cost, healthy option to having a fresh meal and basis for a lot of meals throughout the day. Sourdough bread is really healthy because of the fermentation process that goes into creating the rise in the dough, and high quality sourdough bread at the store can be super expensive. Just being able to make something like bread such a staple to be able to add to almost any meal can be a really delicious way to save money. Stop buying single-use items. Any item that can only be used for one thing, really consider if you should even buy that. If you're going to go and buy a can of pasta sauce, maybe buy the glass jar, even if it's just a few cents more than the can, because you can reuse that glass jar over and over and over again. So it is a multi-purpose item that you are buying. Live small. Having a smaller home not only is going to, like, the overhead cost of having a smaller home is going to be less, but also like the utilities, maintenance on the home, furnishing the home, taxes, insurance, like all of these things are going to be greatly reduced if you could just reduce the size of the house that you're living in. Pay with cash versus credit whenever possible, because not only are you like psychologically going to probably spend less money when you're paying with cash, but when you pay with credit, and this is really the main issue, credit is going to cost interest, and interest is a huge waste of money. So go through all the things that I said before as far as like, don't buy it. Do you actually need it? Repurpose, reuse, and really decide if it's worth going into debt over some things you really can utilize credit in a beneficial way, but like 95% of the time, probably not. Grow food, not grass. The whole idea of having a lawn was perpetuated by the fact that you could use your yard as just ornamental instead of growing food. So at some point in history, it became a status symbol to have a yard instead of a garden, but we have got to reverse that. And it's starting to reverse. It's kind of trendy, kind of cool to have a garden in your yard, and take hold of that trend, utilize it, and start growing food instead of grass. Not only is grass basically useless, but it's costing you more money in yard maintenance. It's polluting the environment. It's not really good for our like native species. Grow food to feed your family. Grow, if you don't want to do that, at least grow stuff in your yard that you don't have to mow and like maintain and waste your time and your money. Uh, Find a ground cover like clover or something like that so that you don't have to take care of it. And it's better for the environment, and it's not costing you a lot of money. Make items to sell and trade. We have gotten out of the mindset of being a producer, we're consumers instead. But think about something that you can make and sell for money or trade with people. Maybe you like making bread and you want to trade bread for your neighbor's something in their garden that they grow because maybe you can't grow it or you just don't have the space to do it. Take what you have available to you and try and figure out a way to make money off of it or be helpful in a communal way with somebody else. Trade skills, labor. Maybe you can build something for someone or fix something for someone. Hang your clothes on a clothesline. This is really multi-purpose. Not only are you saving money through energy of the dryer, but the sun is a natural stain remover, antiseptic. It's going to get your clothes cleaner and whiter than if you just throw them in the dryer. You're also going to make your clothes last longer because the dryer heats it up to a point where it really starts to break down the materials. The sun is also a great deodorizer, so you don't have to use all of those like smells in your clothes to get them smelling better because the sun will just leach out all of those nasty smells. Pretty basic, but very, very helpful. I'd love to know what your best money saving strategies are, whether they are conventional or a little bit unconventional. I did a video on like my most weird ways that I save money. And if you're curious about those, you can check that out right here. As always, thank you guys so much for watching.